Hi, this is Kevin Fitzpatrick from the Cnesta Group, and I'm starting this podcast off with the thought that sometime the best laid plans change. And what I thought I'd talk about today was changed by a new relationship I've developed and someone that I've met, an extraordinary entrepreneur. And we went down a path earlier the week, in the beginning of the week, I should say, and we discussed return on investment. And return on investment, immediately, we always focus on what is the business return on investment? How are we going to drive everything we do to increase the business, to increase both the top and the bottom line? And that's great. I do it every day. I get through it every day. Every action I take, even thinking about doing this podcast, how am I going to drive the return on investment for my business? As I'm sure you go through when you take actions, look at initiatives and decide what's best for your business, whether you own the business, you're a key leader in the business, or you're just trying to do your part as a member of the team to help that business grow. What we all too often forget to consider is what is the personal return on investment based on our actions, our thoughts, and the processes we go through. And all too often, I know, at least in my case throughout my career, even as recently as the situation earlier this week, I forgot to consider what's the personal return. What is it going to cost me to drive the business? And I mean cost me in time, effort, lack of sleep, damage potentially, or lack of paying attention. We're being intentional with personal relationships because I can't get my mind off of or drive my focus beyond what is the return on investment from a business perspective. Now, let's face it, at the end of the day, we all have to make a living. We all have to do what it takes to take care of our families, to meet our obligations, and to grow professionally. But none of that matters if we don't effectively manage that personal return on investment, understanding what that is, the level of effort we put in, what is it going to bring us personally? What good is it if you hit the bottom line, you see the top line growing, and it costs you so dramatically on the personal side that at the end of the day, you figure out what's next. There's a lot of pressure right now on all of us with all of the changes in the economy, with all of the changes in policies coming out of the federal government and how they are affecting all of our businesses, either directly or indirect. And in many respects, they're affecting all of our personal wallets as well. So it is very, very easy to get caught up in, okay, I've got to focus on driving the business. I've got to raise the bar on my top line growth so I can effectively raise the bar on my bottom line as well. But at the end of the day, we need to take care of ourselves and our families in the face of all this change. If, in fact, we want to be here on the long haul, remember, driving business ROI is all about playing chess, trying to be 3 moves ahead. Now, I recognize that today it's very difficult to anticipate and be 3 moves ahead. And some of the moves we make today may not matter 2-3 weeks from now. We may have to change direction and completely rethink how we're going to do things going forward. Excuse me. The reality is, as I started to say in the beginning of this podcast, I met an individual who was so focused on the business that it was affecting her family life. She was getting irritable. She was driving and focusing on the business at the expense of her relationships at home, not only with her partner, but with her children. And at what cost? What is the benefit of that? And I know it's easy to say, and quite honestly, in my transition from corporate America to the role I have now and the roles in between, I wrestled with this every day, sometimes multiple times a day. And at the end of the day, to drive that personal ROI, to truly be intentional on a personal level, the benefit we drive on the business is exponential. So if you truly want to be effective as a leader, as a partner, as an employee, as a business person, then you need to embrace and drive positive affectivity. Yes, I said affectivity because that's based on emotions. It's our emotions that drive our behavior. It's our emotions that try and figure out how are we going to get things done? How are we going to respond or react? And we need to focus, no matter what is in front of us, we need to focus on really trying to drive that positive affectivity. Many years ago, early in my career, that term was thrown at me by someone that was part of my team at GE, and I didn't appreciate it. And Cecilia would throw positive affectivity at me, trying to impress upon me, Kevin, chill. It's not all about the bottom line. It's not all about the business. If you get to the end and you've increased the business, you've delivered the results that are expected of you, but you've done so at the expense personally, then that positive affectivity is not going to be there to truly bring you long-term effectivity, not only in your relationships, but most importantly, or not most importantly, but importantly right now in this conversation, your relationships in the business world, with your clients, with your partners, and really, really realizing what that business return on investment looks like. So if you sacrifice focusing on what is that personal return on investment and embracing positive affectivity, you will very likely not reach the desired business return on investment that you are seeking. Thank you.